We tried to tell the world. We tried to tell our daughters. Don't believe it. Don't believe them. Are we on live? Are we live?
Yep.
Hi, Mary. Hi, Ka.
Hi.
Happy Friday. I was fixing my glasses.
I know. We're running late because Faye and I were too busy shooting our malls off to each other, and we're like, oh, we have to go live.
This is the trick I do to all little babies in carriages when I'm in line. See what I do?
Yeah.
Look at it. They love it. And I was just telling Mary, so last week I went out after our live, and some guy that was drinking a lot called me Four Eyes. You got Mary, I felt like I was in second grade in the playground with a bunch of girls that don't like me. I was like, Four Eyes? I'm at a bar. I'm in my 40s. You're so mean.
I mean, again, not to be too hard on people, but another sign of arrested development right there.
He was wasted, and I'm no one to talk.
He should have been hitting on you if he was wasted, not calling you names.
Joe said it's fine. Believe it or not, I'm over it. Believe it or not, I'm gonna move on.
Oh my God. 40s. I know, right? Mike's saying more like 40s eyes. It's like, yeah, why is it when you hit 40, your eyesight starts going through the floor? I have all my different prescriptions because I can't do. Anyway, we're not talking about glasses tonight.
Well, I didn't protect my eyes from the sun a lot, and now, and I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm living in the 80s and my 90s. I love to be tan, and I go tanning. I know it's so bad. It's like, Faye, no one goes tanning. Well, let me tell you, it's always busy, so I'm not the only one. And they'll be like, do you have your eye protection? I'll be like, you bet your life I do. I'm like, everyone better have it. You'll be blind like me.
Oh boy. So yeah, I don't know where you want to start. We have a lot to discuss.
Well, we can start by catching up. How was your week? I mean, Faye, why don't you just tell us how your week was?
Exactly. That's why I'm like, just jump in, Faye, because when you ask me, how are you? It's too chit chatty. I'm very uncomfortable with that. So off you go.
So the one story I would like to tell, and I have to be humble and honest and a little vulnerable up here. So last week I was talking about marriage and the gift of the marriage relationship. And oh my gosh, if it's not good, you can just fight for it. Well, and I am blessed. I have thank you, God, and thank you, Joe. I have a lovely marriage. I'm married to my best friend and my lover. But there are 2 to 3 times a year, Joe can jump in the chat, I would say 2, honey, that we have nuclear, and no, I don't believe in nukes, but we have cosmic blowout fights where the kids are like, are you guys going to get divorced? It's so bad. And Tuesday was one of them, and it was all my fault. I'm terrible in a crisis. Joe completely takes care of me, and he injured his knee, and I was terrible. And I'm going to be honest, I'm glad the world didn't end that day and I didn't die, because I would have went straight to hell, at least for a little while, and I would have deserved it. So, honey, online, I apologize. It's a real thing. I had a dream. People can be up whatever with their religious beliefs. I had a dream that felt like I was there for 10,000 years, that I was in hell. Okay, so I'm very glad that I was able to say a quick sorry on Tuesday night, go to sleep, and wake up on Wednesday for a new chance, because it was bad. So prayers for Joe.
Yes.
Was that story clear at all?
Joe hurt his knee. You were a complete botch, and you're sorry, and I don't know. As I said to you earlier, did you get out and mow your own lawn, though, Faye? That's the question.
No. And I thought Mary was like, that's so funny, because we were talking about privilege and how you've never mowed a lawn. I'm still not going to mow a lawn because I have a amazing German neighbor who loves me. He'll do it. I have a brother, Prison Mike, who's home. I have a 17-year-old son, and I got some cash in my wallet to pay some teenager. Am I privileged? No. But there is a chance I will die without ever having mowing a lawn. And guess what? I'm okay with that. What?
It's just a different, a different mentality than I have. If it needs to be done, I'm gonna get it done. You know what I mean? Me and my sisters are like that though. Like, if the house needs to be painted, we're out there on a ladder painting our houses. So, it's just, if anything like that, if Mike was, I do understand that women do get like almost angry or resentful towards their husbands, even if they catch a cold. We have the whole like man cold thing. That's just women being resentful towards their husbands when they get sick, because we do depend, or
oh my gosh,
we depend on them so much. And then it's like,
so much that's what my I literally had a freak out on Tuesday, and Joe's the first one to point it out. He's like, because we're not getting any younger, and I think it was a deep seated maybe like psychological fear of anything happening to him. But now I'm taking care of him. I'm nursing him back to health. And I actually made an appointment for a doctor. Guys, I haven't been to a doctor since I had my daughter. She's 15, okay? Because I have like something that needs to be looked at. But the fear was real. I was like, if something ever happened to him, something can't happen to me either, because I may not mow the lawn, but I do a lot too. There's a lot to be done in life, and I've got my jobs too. What are you laughing at?
I'm just laughing at John Boy saying mowing the grass should be done by men and teenagers. I'm sorry. If it's got to get done, it's going to get done so we can have some family time. And, I have no problem doing it. But I like crap like that also.
Do you take out the trash?
No. If I do, it's in a huge huff and throwing a complete tantrum, how nobody helps me. So if I do it, it's only to make a statement.
Right. My dad never expected me to touch the trash, neither does my husband. And my son, who can be, I love him to death, but he can be a little complaining. He comes by it honestly in this day and age, but he won't blink an eye. If I'm sitting there and he's sitting there and Joe's like, take out the trash. It's a boy job.
That's not my husband's job. I have 4 teenagers in the house. So that's my second son's job, is to do the trash. And yeah, if I'm taking out the trash, I'm on a war path, So, all right, there's that. Absolutely. I do want to, just a couple weeks ago, right? You and I were talking, and you were talking about Mexico, remember? And you were talking about the sarcasm.
I came home, and it's Joe and I's 20th year anniversary, and we had a really, really nice 5-night trip in Cancun, Mexico. And I know if you haven't been to Cancun, Cancun's Cancun for a reason. But when I got down there, meaning it has the most beautiful beaches I've personally ever seen, and I've seen some beaches in my life. I'm talking white sand and turquoise water as far as the eyes can see. But then we got down there, and I was like, there's more seaweed than I remember. And thank God for Joe, because he wouldn't want to hear it in front of my hotel. And it was beautiful. I could swim. But as the days progressed, there kept getting, and I went for a really long walk all along the strip. And I remember, like, sometimes when I go for walks, like down in the Caribbean or in Florida, like I'll go for a walk myself. And what's so great is you can just jump in the water to cool off because you're sweating. You know what I mean? But I couldn't jump in the water anywhere because there was so much brown water from the seaweed and seaweed on the ground. It didn't ruin our trip, thank God. The last day was the worst. So when I got home, I did a deep dive, and I guess there's a 5,000 foot sargasm, new word. It's like sarcasm and orgasm put together. Seaweed blob that you can see from space. And it's ruining the Caribbean and now Florida. I know, talk about privilege, but I sent Mary this.
Do you see it?
Flesh-eating bacteria found in sargassum bloom. I hate when they call it a bloom on Florida beaches. Do you see that brown? That's what it looks like. This is what the tourism, these people depend on tourism for their beautiful beaches. That's how it was getting in Cancun. I personally think it's a judgment from God, but you know, I always go there. And
so it's saying it causes about 80,000 illnesses and 100 deaths in the U.S. per year. But meanwhile, we've never heard of this, right?
I never heard of sargassum, and I'm a beach lover.
Yeah, and then
the other thing is,
you were sick.
Yeah. Yes, when I got home from Cancun, I attributed it to food poisoning, and you're in another country, and you know what I mean. I just kind of like I was on a plane, and you don't really think about it. But I never ever have been sick when I get home from Mexico, and I was sick, like sick, and I think it's because I was swimming in the ocean more than Joe. I really do. He's more of a pool guy, but I always have to like swim in the ocean a little bit. It's sad. It is really sad because there's some of the nicest people and they do depend on the beaches. I do hope that I'm wrong and I hope that it goes away. But
I want to know, okay, so there's a couple things. Once again, there's a couple things going through my head, but it's like when you got back and we were showing the video towards the end of that live, we were both kind of laughing like spoiled brat, not happy that too much seaweed. But it's like you knew immediately that there was something wrong. There was something unusual. And then we start seeing these articles. And I want to point something out that jumps out to me in this article is the sentence. I don't know if you can see my mouse or how this whole thing works.
Read it to me.
Perfect pathogen storm. All right. Can you see that?
Wow.
Okay. Wow. This is another thing that I'm noticing a lot recently is this whole, like, the words that they're using. It's like, all right, so you recognized something wrong. You were like, no, this isn't cool. You're convinced it made you sick. But now they're making it a flesh-eating, warning that you're going to get a flesh-eating virus. It's a pathogenic storm. And it's like, think of just this week, all right? In the Northeast, okay? We are kind of Northeast centric, but I know like out in PA, they were seeing it, even though I think they're still considered Northeast. But this whole like smoke thing, the smoke show that we all got to see. They were talking about like an apocalyptic sky. And the reason why this was all happening is because of, I do have to look at my notes here because of the verbiage that they were using. The perfect storm with all the weather anomalies that had to take place in order for this one event to happen the way that it happened, right? Weather manipulation. We know definitely that's it. But then we have the reason why this was happening is that there's the death ridge and it's holding in all this air and it's the omega trough. I mean, think of all these words that they're throwing at us. Omega, death, apocalyptic. All right. It's it's all this like fear. And I will say the whole smoke thing from Canada is a huge mystery. It's a mystery to me. Do you want me to go on this now or do you want to back up?
No, I want to go on this, but I just want to say, because I just thought of it, and it's kind of connected to what I just said. For whatever reason, I had to tell you and like apocalyptic, you didn't say doomsday, but perfect storm. And yeah, it's fear. But guys, it's also, I keep saying guys, I'm talking to Mary. It's also, I think it's related to what I said. Guys, I am so happy I didn't die on Tuesday. If I had to meet my maker, Mary, you don't understand. I was at my worst. I made my daughter cry. I said something to my brother who's out of prison that could have made him kill himself. It was so bad. So you know what? Maybe we all need to remember that at some point we're gonna cross over somewhere, and that's all. Do you know what? Am I being clear? So I like where you're going, but I think that it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, they're trying to scare the crap out of people. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, the world's being crazy and weather's crazy. I saw the seaweed in Cancun with my own eyes. It wasn't there. I've been there 5 times. But you know what? Tuesday, I'm glad I didn't get hit by a bus. It would have been embarrassing to meet whoever I'm going to meet. It would have been embarrassing. Go ahead. I'm sorry if that.
So awkward. That would have been awkward for you to meet your maker.
I would have been like, I'm not always like this. I'm so sorry. I was terrible. Terrible.
Let's see.
But go ahead. Yeah, I want to go there.
Where the hell am I going with this, Faye? Well, first of all, I did come across this article, because this whole thing with and we are doing some screen sharing tonight, but we're wanting this still to be something that you can listen to. It's not a visual presentation in the slightest. But so I was thinking, how many year after year after year, we have all these wildfires. I mean, people out in the Midwest must think that we're the biggest wimps on the planet, the way we're acting about smoke in our skies, and things like that, because they're constantly in a place that's burning, even though these fires from Canada also seemed really odd to me, because we're still in spring technically.
Yeah, so, as I bundle up, it's freezing.
Oh, that's because of the death ridge, Faye, is making the Canadian trough. So that's why it's cold here. It has nothing to do with weather manipulation whatsoever. But so I was like, how the hell is Canada already burning after we just got out of snow season and rain season? So that was the first thing. And they're already setting everybody up for basically 2 things. This could go one of 2 ways. Either this is going to disappear, which makes no sense whatsoever because these fires are still burning, or now this is going to be the summer where in the United States we keep having these troughs come down from Canada and we're being forced to mask up. I could see climate lockdowns coming because of this, and it makes little sense, right? So I was like, how the hell are we already getting I don't think I can find it, Faye, and I already told you I don't want to jump around too much on this, but there's literally footage that shows that they might be even setting these fires.
Well, show it, but if you don't mind me jumping in, it's upsetting because one of the things that first really woke me up is the lines in the sky. And I've been looking with horror for over a decade now at them. And I'm not gonna. And now I can see what you're saying, Mary. They're trying, and for a while they've been doing this. Now we're moving into a new mass psychosis where we have to act like we in our little cars and our little eating habits and living is ruining the world. When I've been literally watching the sky be destroyed for over a decade. So, what do you want? Go ahead.
Yeah. But I mean, this here is literally, I don't know. People could be like, oh, that's Photoshop. That's not weird. I had a map up earlier, which was actually showing all the fires. Sorry, I am using somebody else's content here, so I do have to be careful. I could have found it very easily on my own. But I know you can see whose content that is. It's a prepper guy I follow. But they have maps, and it's like, oh, it's not just a fire. It's not just a fire. going on in Canada. It's like all these individual fires, right? And then you see footage of like, it looks like a helicopter dropping fire.
Hey, I wouldn't put it past them.
It makes me insane. It literally
but it
makes
doesn't
me
matter. It doesn't matter because of the chemtrails. Can I say that? It doesn't. I wouldn't put it past them. Of course they are. If they could, they would, and they probably are. But we go back to square A. They've been doing God and they. I use the term they very loosely because I don't think it. You know that I suspect that the whole sky thing isn't human. But go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm gonna try not to smoke as much, but then you said it's my bit, so I'm allowed to smoke on on here. But the thing is, all these agendas, they're marching on. I feel like a lot of people are like to stay in one thing, one agenda, and just like focus on it. It's like, yeah, of course you're going to keep seeing it, but what's next? Where are they going next? You know, the elusive they. And where they are going is exactly where they told us they were going, which is a 2020, but on a rolling level. Remember, rolling blackouts. You know, all these, getting used to the terminology. We're going to have rolling climate lockdowns, rolling this, rolling that, you know, and people don't even blink anymore. That's one of the first things that I noticed after the smoke in the sky. Masks were back. They were back full force. People walking their dogs out in masks. I know in New York, I have some friends out in the city there, and just like choosing not to go outside because it was apocalyptic. But you know, if the government was like, nope, lock down, everybody would.
100%. So
it's the growth of this agenda. It's the next stage. 2020 was 3 years ago. They are moving on. They're next. Grabbing for the next thing.
It's yeah, you're right. They are on schedule, and it is diabolical brilliance, as you say, and it's really like sometimes most days when I wake up, if I have a little time to lay in my bed, I really want to just keep my eyes shut because I know when I open them, I'm going to be here with creatures and controllers that hate me so much, and their entire agenda is to diminish my life, my spirituality, and my soul. It's a lot to take in. Mary, why don't you? I see you putting the chat up. Hi everyone. I do have to go use the ladies. Will you say hi to everyone? I'll be right back.
Absolutely. I do want to. So another way to block the sun. What I just found out is even over in Germany, all right, there's like a group of people that are literally fighting to have the sun back. This isn't only in the United States, in Canada. This is all over the world. People are getting tired. People are waking up. I like to think so. I do think that, you know, there's a lot of people who aren't. It depends on where you live in the world, but at least over in, you know, some places in Europe, they're like, where the heck has the sun been? And I can tell you this week in Massachusetts, we got very little sunlight because we got the smoke and just it's overcast. It was the silver sky once again. The only difference was that you could also see the smoke literally like among the trees. It's crazy. So I see John Boy. Yeah, it's been smoky in Ohio. I know we've been talking about that. You know, I talk to John Boy a lot. They tell us healthy people can be carriers of deadly disease and people who are environmentally responsible. What? are the people that are environmentally responsible are ruining the environment. Oh, I see what you're saying there. I get you. Yeah.
It's mass psychosis. It's blaming the victim. Not that we're victims, but it's blame like you're bad. It's classic. It's abuse. It's abuse. It's your fault. You made me do this. It's your fault. You're doing this.
Yeah.
But they don't admit to doing anything. It's I'm sorry. I just jumped in. Go ahead, Mary. I'm like,
No, go. It's fine. I want to hear what you say on it. I mean,
I say exactly what RT just said. You can't. That's it.
mm-hmm.
We're diseased, dirty, deadly. You know, we just need to we're so disgusting. How could we even be born? And then we're ruining the environment.
We're gonna get people's tomatoes sick because we smoke, Faye.
Did you have class last Saturday?
No. We'll talk about that at the end. What I'm gonna do with my witches going forward. But so
going forward,
yeah. But okay, we had all that, right? Like the whole. I know that you would have to follow people like Ryan Hall, y'all. He's like a meteorologist type guy. He's really more storm chaser than anything else. But I listen to him. He's the one who's telling me about what is it called, the Death Ridge and the Omega Trough. And
I don't know. I've been Death Ridge. I have no idea what that is. So
it's again, in order for what happened in New York City the day before yesterday to have happened, we needed. It was again the perfect storm. And the famous.
Well, I listened to Matt from Quantum's half-hour video on it today, and that's what he was saying. That there was I forget the number, but it was basically an impossible.
He said 5, but if you listen to Ryan Hall, it's no, there's more actually than 5. But you remember the iconic Perfect Storm, which they made a movie out of, and it was that hurricane from hell basically, and it completely destroyed so many ships, and it's that is another major storm that everybody was this is weather manipulation, and people could actually show how it. So I think it's also interesting they're throwing that around again, even though we're all onto them. So
we are all onto them. I was driving with Jose today, my brother from another mother. He's 5 boosters in, and even he's sick of it. 5 boosters, and he's not falling for this crap.
Yeah.
People are, it's a game of chicken. I don't know. It's crazy.
Well, we know it's all spiritual. It's the war against good and evil. Yeah. In our own homes, in the world around us, the way the powers that be versus the average man. It's a battle of good and evil. And I did think it was very interesting that this week a lot of the distracting news stories that came out were of basically witches and demons. So it's oh, isn't this interesting? Also during the month of June, which I'm not gonna say what the month of June is either, but
now you have to.
Do you want me to show the picture you sent me earlier, Faye, of the flags?
Oh, I mean, you might as well because, yeah, I mean, if it's handy, it's I just thought of how I would feel if I was a veteran with I'm just kind of conservative leaning, you know what I mean? So this is an American flag that's in a circle, surrounded by a circle of the tranny rainbow flag. If you see, it looks it was very I mean, I'm awake, so I know the deal. But
look at these 2 old codgers. Also, are they both wearing masks?
No, I don't think so.
Yes,
I'm glad. I look at a photo like that, and I'm glad my father's in a different place. God bless you, Dad. My dad served his country when they asked, but that's not what he was serving for. So,
What the hell are these? What are they all? Look at them. I can recognize like the trans flag and the old school pride flag, which is right
Yeah,
there.
and just the way it's even I don't even know what they all mean, but it's the way it's positioned, that it's a perfect circle around the American flag. I don't believe in countries, as we know. But this is, I just feel the way that this would demoralize at least half the people that see it. And
I gotta look up real quick to see what the MAPS flag is. I'm sorry.
maps,
I want to
right?
see if the minor attracted person is being represented in that.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because I took that on the bus today. I was on the dog bus, and I took that. I had to show you. I'm already there, Mary. That flag already to me represents pedophilia, whatever it's called. And you want to know why? Because I think it's pretty clear that they're after the children.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think that we need to even discuss it. So it already represents pedo. What's that?
All right, so that's the MAPS flag. At least I didn't see that one.
But did you
Right?
hear what I just said while you were looking?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
I know.
Those,
I know what
those
you're saying.
flags already represent that. To me, anyway. I don't need a new flag. Who the hell can keep up with all these flags?
I don't know.
Anyway, I don't want to veer off. So go on with your witches and warlocks, because this is interesting. It's and Mary and I were talking, like, I believe in all this stuff. Joe and I have seen and heard supernatural stuff. I believe in it all, and I'm thankful every day I don't need to see it. So I believe in it. But if they're bringing it out now for a reason, Mary, show us some of these stories.
So okay, so I was talking
to ladies in the woods.
I was wondering where do I start with this?
Yeah.
Okay, I was talking to your sister earlier, and your sister also has been having a lot of interactions with witches in real life, like my stupid witches that can't even get up for their high holy day. I kept saying Bacchanalia. It's Beltane. Bacchanalia is like, I hope they're not celebrating that, but anyway. So she's also noticing Bacchanalia is like almost like the purge, and it's all like everybody's going out and having sex with one another, and
I bet that was raping. They really do that. Joe,
huh?
hold on. Joe, tell Dorian to come up because your knee hurts. Go ahead.
So anyway, your sister is also experiencing more and more witches. Now, we all know that it's one of the fastest growing religions. What?
I love my sister, and if she's listening now or later, one thing I love about her, she's a weirdo magnet. She always have been. But she has the best stories. Like, if there is a weirdo, they're going to find my sister. Not saying witches, I just love her. That's a little shout out to my sister. It's hilarious. Go ahead.
Well, she noticed that they said, blessed be, when they parted ways. And she was like, what is that? So she went in her car, and of course she pulled out her handy dandy scrying mirror, typed it in, and she found out that's what women in coven say back and forth to each other. So we are seeing this more and more in real life. And then we're under this cloud of smoke that from a fire that's deliberately set up north, right? And then they're manipulating the weather in order to completely drown us out in smoke. And then you see what the mainstream media, once again, the terminology in what is mainstream news, right? This is like my favorite thing to do during the week. All right. So what's this one called? Here we go. Ready? It's all kinds of sexy up in here, so be careful.
Mary over the story. I go, fake.
Okay.
But then Mary just said, but Faye, you have to understand, this is on mainstream news.
Yeah.
So of course we know that this is beyond fake. Oh, I didn't see the hand before. That hand is creepy.
No, this is the leg of a dead deer.
Okay.
Putting it up to her mouth.
Yeah,
I thought that's not her hand. No, it's a decomposing deer.
Either way, but it's still so fake. But what the story here, Mary, you nailed it, is this is what the people are being shown on mainstream news. Go ahead.
So yeah, the story behind this is that this woman found a dead deer carcass on her property. She owns horses. So she was worried. She was like, what kind of a creature killed this deer? And so she put out a trail cam, right? And in the trail cam, they captured these hotties eating the deer carcass. And they're saying that it's like witches paying tribute to the dead creature. And this was like all over the news. And this is the woman who actually captured it. And
oh my God.
I know, I kind of don't trust her either. Is she the one in the wig and showing her glutes?
Yes. And
you
look
know
at
what I
that
mean?
face. That's not a normal. Look at that face.
Yeah.
Why? Oh God, people, you're gonna wake up whether you want to or not. Look at that. That's like a face you would see when you go in the fun house with the mirrors. That's not a real face.
Well, doesn't it kind of make you wonder if all of this is once again her or her coven, normalizing? They're putting it out there like, look at this crazy thing that I captured on my trail cam. It's like, meanwhile, it's her and her coven being like, this is what we do, and we want to introduce the public to it.
Well, if it's on mainstream news, it has nothing to do with her and her stupid coven. It has to do with them and the real coven, which is a lot bigger, and we don't understand it. But either way, it's such a load of bullcrap.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying in that, but I also do think that normally a lot of this stuff that is brought to the mainstream news gets suppressed because they don't want things like satanic panic to happen again. And they want people in the dark, right? And we know that like these types of things are growing. The I don't know what the hell even to call those people. Are they witches?
Actors.
What
I call them actors.
All right, I'll move on to the next one.
Did you see even the loincloths? The loincloths were a little too perfect. The hair in front of the face.
Well, if they were performing a ritual,
it was fake. But what?
If they were performing a ritual, it would be perfect. Like I'm not saying the thing. I think that where we're talking kind of like not beyond, like parallel to one another. I'm saying it's an actual ritual that is performed and they're putting it out there to normalize it. And what you're saying is like, yeah, but it's obviously fake. It's like, but it's the way that it's introduced.
I like the way that you just said we're having a parallel conversation because we are probably both right. Yes, do I think that that's fake and a little scripted? But do I believe that there are people that have rituals like that? You better believe I do.
Right.
I know they do, but I don't think it's on TV. That one was put on for TV. But exactly. Do I believe they do that? Of course. So yes, I like the way you said that. I like that parallel conversation.
Another big thing that happened while we're not supposed to be looking at them setting forest fires is
or how much money they're sending overseas. I like that.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
That's still going on.
Hold on. Okay. Where is this? This is, I have to be careful because this, once again, I only go to one like person for these types of stories. And I feel bad, but I am going to share just a clip of this.
Thanks for joining us here at 6 o'clock. I'm Denise Valdez.
I'm Brian Loftus. A family says something crashed into their back.
Faye, literally, you have to hear this, and all of it can be listened to, okay?
I'm listening to it.
Okay. Prompting them to call 911, saying they saw creatures walking around.
Our 8 News Now investigators digging into this for weeks now. And tonight, our David Charnes with the video you will only see on 8 News Now. David?
Right, Denise, sources telling 8 News Now investigators that several agencies believe something landed or crashed. Whether it was non-humans or not, it certainly scared the people living on this property.
All right. I could have skipped all this. I apologize. Let me go
to
the
No. I'm glad.
Okay. All right. Okay.
That was amazing. Keep going.
Listen to their call for help.
There's like an 8-foot person beside it. and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and it's looking at us, and it's still there.
Okay, where is this on your property?
In my backyard.
All right, can you hear that, Faye?
Oh, I can hear it.
Because I'm using somebody else's content, I do have to keep interrupting to react, and then it's fair use. So that's why I'm
And
reacting.
this is just on mainstream news, just like the last one. And okay, wow.
I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually we terrified of it.
So there's two people or two subjects that are in your backyard?
Subject.
Correct, and they're very large.
Oh my God. Do you know what this reminds me of? Have you ever listened to fake 911 calls where it's like, oh my gosh, there's a man in my house. It's not a man, it's a dog. And I hate dogs. It's like, it sounds like one of those fake 911 calls, doesn't it?
It totally sounds fake. And
they're like 8 foot, 9 feet, 10 foot. I don't know. They look like aliens to us.
They look like aliens to us. Big eyes. All right. And then also I do want you to see that they have like the body cam
By
footage.
now, it's more than an hour after that bright light. Officers meeting up with the caller and his family.
What'd you see?
It was like a big creature.
A big creature?
Yeah, like around 10 feet tall.
I'm not going to BS you guys. One of my partners said they saw something fall out of the sky too, so that's why I'm kind of curious.
God.
Did you see anything land in your backyard, or
they see like a?
Yeah. So all these people on the body cam footage, they show that
like a cop would ever be like, I'm not going to BS you guys. My partner said he saw something fall out of the sky.
When a Las Vegas Metro police officer's body cam catches
there's the body cam
something
footage.
flashing low in the sky.
911 emergency.
All right. So my only point with this, right? And sorry that I just used your content person. They'll never see it. Don't tell them that I did that. But the whole point is like right now we have all kinds of like alien disclosure going on, and the U.S. government. That keep in mind, my friend said it best on voice chat the other day. He's like, the U.S. government, that all of us were like, you're lying when they say aliens don't exist, but when they're saying aliens do exist, we're all like, yeah, see, I told you. It's like we're just dealing with liars. And so this is another thing that came out this week, even though that I also do want to add that body cam footage was 4 weeks old. Why did it come out last week? Why? I mean, it's crazy, right? You have to wonder why. I know. I'm on fire. I'm on fire with the anger.
You have another. I want to see your next clip.
What was my next clip is just a still, and I think I better stay away from it. But if anybody is interested in this content, from where I'm grabbing from, I could have found probably the news clips myself, but I was lazy. Cinema Shogun, he's entertainment YouTuber. He's not like necessarily a news person. He's where I go for all my Britney Spears news.
Baby. I love Britney.
So,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
So if you're interested in any of this, the last thing I was going to show is El Chupacabra, which is a demon creature from South America who drinks the blood of animals and eats their eyes and brains. But besides that, it pretty much leaves the animals just dead, but like not torn apart like a wild cat or something would. El Chupacabra has now been caught on camera, and it's a bipedal creature running through a farm. Demonic distraction. What's the distraction? Which thing is the distraction at this point? It's like, are the forest fires the distraction?
I know I bring him up, but besides you and Joe, the person I speak to the most and have conversations with is Jose. Guys, he's a legend. 5 boosters in, we were talking today, and he goes, Faye, have you noticed that people, we were driving through Lynn, City of Sin, guys. Let me tell you, when the Bible says that there are angels over areas and principalities, when you drive around as much as I have, and I go place to place, it's literally you cross the border and things change. So we're driving in the really bad part of Lynn, and Lynn is inner city trust me, I'm sure there's worse. But he's like, Faye, have you noticed that people, like, he's like, look at that guy, he's about to fall over. He's like, look at this person, they all look crazy. And then I'm like, Jose, I believe in possession. We're looking at it. He's like, you're not wrong, you're not lying. I go, a lot of these problems could be solved with an exorcism. On the day, this didn't help because the devil's going to mess with you. Back to my Tuesday, where I'm very thankful I didn't die. It would have been embarrassing. But like, I left the house to go do some things, like trying to cool off. But of course, everyone I saw, Mary, I'm not kidding. Every human being I saw out and about looked like they wanted to kill themselves and other people. And it didn't help my psychology. Do you know what I mean? And the devil did that on purpose. So what are they trying to distract us from? You just said demonic, because we're looking at the demonic outside of our windows.
I said demonic distraction, which is the distraction.
I'm
absolutely right. You're absolutely
I was probably possessed on Tuesday. The things that came out of my mouth, like I made my daughter cry. Go ahead. It was bad.
I'm just texting my husband. But so with another, I spend a lot of time on Discord. Okay, guys. So a lot of my IRL experience is still online, but I was talking to somebody who works in retail, and I think they work in the food industry. So we were having a conversation about my son, who also works in retail, having a terrible day. People are just mean. They're nasty. I know that when I was young, you would have the occasional like basket case come in.
Sure.
But nowadays, it does seem like people are just mean. They're very abusive. And it is a spiritual thing. It's like part of me feels sorry for people because I know what they have been through. And if you're buying into all of this, you have to have adrenal fatigue at the very least, you know, besides mental illness. But then the other part of me is like, no, this is spiritual. It's a spiritual attack, because I can tell you every part of history had its own struggles, its own good, its own evil. Every single one.
Well, every part of recorded history. We know that.
Sure, right. I mean, look at every great story ever told. There's the good guy and the bad guy, Faye.
Right? Well, that's very true. Here's my handsome boy. Dorian, will you say hi? Fulton said hi last week. Come say hi.
Oh, Dorian.
Oh, we won't say hi.
Oh, don't be shy. We're just a couple of creepy old ladies.
Come back, honey. Oh, he's coming.
No.
Just pour him. Come here. Come say hi to Mary. Fulton said hi last week. He's coming.
No, don't. If he doesn't want to.
He's coming.
Oh, good.
Hi.
No, come down. Say hi.
Hold on. Clown World Cousins was over you.
Look at
our stupid logo. Oh. Genetics. Am I right?
Keep the line up here. Don't worry. Oh, we're blessed, Mary. Thank you, sweetie.
Oh.
Good boy.
Thank you, Dorian, for making an appearance.
Love their mamas. Fulton came on last week and Dorian was like reluctant. He's like, okay.
Oh, Fulton would like, seriously, if I let Fulton talk, he would take over the show.
With names like Fulton and Dorian, you gotta be good looking to carry that. They both are. Right?
Hold on. Lynn, City of Sin, you never come out the way you came in? Why
Fluffy,
does this sound familiar?
You ain't lying. Let me tell you. So,
is that a nursery rhyme?
It's a Massachusetts nursery rhyme.
Well, no, I know trot trot to Boston, trot trot to Lynn. You better watch out or you might fall in. I know people from all over the country who know that nursery rhyme.
Well, Lin is a special Massachusetts one.
Oh,
Did you have anything else to say? Because if you in our title we did say welfare dogs, and I think it go there. The welfare dogs are in Lynn, and I think it. And I've seen a lot of possessed people there. And did you? It goes. With
I'm just making sure I covered everything. I think that is literally what I wanted to talk about, Faye. So yeah, go ahead. Back to Lynn. Take it away, Lynn.
Well, it's kind of I don't. Well, I love what you said because, like, what are they? Demonic distraction. And then I have my man who's Jose, who's like literally pointing out the window. He's like, "Faye, have you noticed there's something wrong with people?" So, I don't want to get too deep into and too detailed about where I work, but I work with dogs, and we drive them home, and they're very. If you have money in Massachusetts to have your dog picked up and go play with other dogs and be trained and get dropped off, that's not cheap. Okay. In Massachusetts, that's an expensive service. So we have 3 new dogs and they're amazing. And let me just start with that. I would take, if any of them 3 needed a home, I would take them home. So I'm used to dealing with very, very, very rich dogs. Meanwhile, they don't care. I don't have to tell you guys, they just love life. That's why I love them. So I'm talking about dogs that live in multi-million-dollar homes on the ocean. I take care of dogs for CEOs, which I won't get into, Mary. You know the CEOs who I take care of dogs for. Yep. So this week, long story short, we had 3 new dogs. And okay, 3 new dogs going to an apartment in, I won't dox, but if you rewind back 5 minutes, you'll figure it out. Yeah. So not known as the nicest city in Massachusetts. So we've got 3 dogs getting picked up, going to daycare, and laugh at doggy daycare all you want. I do too, guys, even though I work there. But I'll tell you something. A dog that goes to daycare is a good dog. That's a dog that you don't have to worry about. Okay. Anyway. So they're a little high maintenance, these 3 dogs. Cause it's, going to daycare is new. Going on the bus is new. And we get to their house. And it's one of these rack 'em, stack 'em apartments thrown together with paper mache and you have to use your phone to get in. And these 3 dogs live in a small apartment. So I'm thankful that they're going to daycare. They're very sweet. And I'm thankful that they get out for the day. So I say to the driver, because I don't work every day, I go, oh, they're cute. They're high maintenance, but this must be good money for the doggy daycare. And I go, how are they paying for it? I expected 3 dogs. That's really expensive. I figured they were coming like 1 day a week. He goes, Faye, they're coming 5 days a week on the bus, full day doggy daycare and going home. I go, 5 days. I said, I take care of dogs for doctors that can't afford 5 days for 1 or 2 dogs, never mind 3. You guys, I'm talking about a rack 'em, stack 'em in kind of the ghetto. Okay. He goes, they're subsidized by the government. And I go, the government subsidizing doggy daycare now? And so I don't want to get into it. I don't have any paperwork, but needless to say, I don't know any other people that are sending 3 dogs a week on the bus to doggy daycare and taking them home. But it brings me through this very interesting neighborhood, which gives me an opinion on the possession because you see them. So welfare dogs, and I had this conversation with you in Wheels. Like I struggle with it. It's like when I'm taking care of dogs, it's like there are people that don't have a house, but somehow the government is subsidizing dogs getting picked up on a bus going to doggy daycare all day. And that's all I want to say. Mary, please jump in before I run my big mouth. I don't want to dox myself. Am I making any sense?
So yes, you are. Yeah. And you're being vague, but not vague enough that people can't glean what you're talking about. But also, hold on, by rack 'em stack 'em, do you mean like these smart homes, these smart apartments that are all like subsidized yet very controlled?
They're very, like, for some reason, even though everyone you talk to in the city is like, traffic's bad, there's nowhere to park. We you know what, like, classes are full at school. Somehow, though, everyone seems to agree on these big apartment buildings keep going up. And, and I have like 2 being built in my city right now. And where it used to take me 10 minutes to drive across town, now it takes me 30 minutes during business.
I was just talking to my buddy about this on Discord. How many times is that? 4 or 5 times that I'm like, yeah, and then the other only conversation I had this week. And so we were talking about the 20-minute cities, right? And it's like to most of the country, what?
Just what you're saying. It just made all the rack'em stack'ems and the traffic. It just made it go click in my head. Go ahead. Wow.
So he also lives in a major metropolitan area, and we were talking about the traffic, and we're like, it takes like, if you want to go, what did it take me to go about 10 miles the other day? It took me about 35 minutes. For 10 miles because of 95, even everybody trying to take the back roads, even if you're like from here, trying to get around, it takes forever. There's been a population boom. I guess that everybody who didn't die of our last event moved here. No, I was kidding.
Yeah, and the only ones that died were the ones that got in car accidents, like my dad, and were labeled that. But go ahead.
I know. I was totally joking.
Oh, I know you were, but I just had to say that for my dad.
Yeah, but so, and then we were discussing like leaving major cities, and it's like, all right, well, where do you go? And there is, once you're raised here in a major metropolitan area, you get addicted to the convenience. You get addicted to it. So it's like, what? You disagree?
I know. I said amen.
Oh, okay. Very bougie.
I love my hot showers. I love my hot showers. Like I bitch about my electric bill, but my daughter and I, we can go for a while. Who's this?
Hold on. I got to get my reading spectacles out. In North Idaho.
Welfare dogs? Is she talking?
No, rack'em stack'ems.
Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming. And yeah, they get help with their rent. Yeah. Hold on. Who are you talking about? It because I was under the kind of, I don't know, conclusion. I guess it was my own conclusion that they're putting all these people in like places like Chicago, Massachusetts, LA, New York, that they were putting them places like that. But how many people are coming here? And where the hell are they all coming from? Because wherever they're coming from, I want to move to, because that place is apparently abandoned at this point.
So I want to get back to so I talked about the welfare, but what I want to talk about is I've talked about apartment. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's where I want to go, because we drive by them and they keep going up and up and up, even though people complain about the traffic and the full classes and this and that, and like we can't, like you said. So I go into multi-million-dollar houses too, but now I do have some clients that live in the rack'em stack'ems. You can't get in without your phone.
Yeah, it's a smart.
Let me finish. You get in with your phone. You use the elevator with your phone. You use everything. Everything is digital. You could, and this is what Jose, again, 5 boosted in. He goes, Faye, they can shut this down with one click.
This is what I was about to say. He's absolutely right. So what they do with these smart buildings is there's smart meters also, which has to do with water, the water in, gas in, electric, and then it's all about convenience. Like, I'm going to set my thermostat to this temperature, so when I come home from work, my house is going to be a balmy, like 68 degrees, and you know, I'm going to have my lights turn on. They sell it by way of convenience, but it's a means of control. Because yes, they can press.
Go ahead.
Go, yeah. No, you.
So I've
you
been
go.
thinking a lot, and I called this early, and I think I'm genius. I called this over a decade ago, that these things are called cell phones for a reason. Think of it. I only have a few bars. I'm holding on to the bars of my cell phone. Think of me in a jail. I'm in a bar, okay? I thought of that years ago, and you guys all know it, okay? Cell phones, bars. It's a Faustian deal, this technology. No diseases are being cured. No one has a shorter work week. This is effed up.
Yeah, you said that a couple. That's amazing, by the way. I love that. And I'm not usually into like that type of thing, but that was really amazing.
Well, I said it over 10. I said it I put off getting one of these for that reason. I used to say, people were like, "Hey, get a cell phone," and be like, "I don't want a cell phone. How many bars do I have?" You know, I know what it is. But now in 2023, I can't do my job without it. Go ahead. Faustian deal.
All right, let's say hello. Let's say hello because I see that Frank just got here. He just got up from a nap. Good for you, Frank.
Nice, Frank.
Frank
Yeah,
had a
that
great
beauty
Bible study the other night. I was more of a distraction than a help on it. Yeah, because most of them are going to be wiped off the face of the earth soon enough. But I digress.
It is what it is, Frank.
Frank's usually the shining ray of light on our. He always comes in. He's like,
we're gonna start a commune. I'm a very good. What can we do? I'm pretty decent at homeschooling when I'm not having a nervous breakdown. I can teach the kids of certain things. I can cook. I can take care of the animals. I can definitely take care of the animals. Well, the dogs and the kitties.
Would you clean out the chicken coop? I think that's on par with taking out the trash. And you do clean up animals.
The animals, I would clean out. I would, because you know why? Because of CFM, Ceiling Fan Man has posted. He hasn't done it in a while, but they're very quick videos with CFM. But he hasn't done it in a while. But cleaning his chicken coop, and he just kind of talks, and you see the chickens, and it's very It's very calming and cathartic. Yeah, I would absolutely, because of CFM, I would absolutely clean a chicken coop.
Can you come clean mine? It's gross, CFM. And I'm the one who always has to clean it. And it's like, chicken poop is giant. But because I'm farming.
How many chickens do you have?
Oh, geez. Right now? Well, we have the coop, which I think we have 12 in. But then we also have 8 in the garage. But they're only chicks. So we do have to have a culling soon.
A culling? That sounds like, ugh, what do you mean? Oh, you're gonna have some fried chicken.
Yeah, we have
like literally, if I had a last meal, one of my choices would be fried chicken. So what the hell am I talking about? I love fried chicken.
Yeah. We usually only kill the roosters, but we have some hens that are getting up there in age, and we gave them a good retirement. They're not laying. They haven't been laying for about 2 years, and I don't want them to die of natural causes. They had a night, because then you can't really consume them, and they're going to be crap meat anyway because they're so old, but you can make a broth with them, right? So they have to go. I
know that you're so gung-ho about meat, and I get it, and I eat it too, but when you really listen to it, like, what a world. I want to live in a world where we don't have to kill other things to eat. And don't get me wrong, I have chicken and steak all the time. It's not my favorite.
Honest to God. I don't know why I just said honest to God, like you were going to think I was lying. But so the last time we killed 2 roosters, my husband and son did it. I knew it was going to happen. I was very like, okay, this is, if you want to eat then you have to know where your food came from. Because I have neighbors who I've offered the eggs from my coop to for free. Just like, would you like some eggs? I got a ton of them. And they're like, no, I don't like to see where my eggs come from. It's like, if you're not taking them from my nice, clean, tidy coop, you're right. You don't want to see where your eggs come from, you psycho. So there is that complete disconnect with where our food comes from. And then you
That's
wonder
exactly.
why they're getting away with all this genetically modified crap. Because if I got some chickens, I threw them out in my coop, and before the chickens were 9 months old, they couldn't even walk because they're meat birds, all these genetically modified meat birds. It's like I would be so disturbed. So I do think there is something. So anyway, I knew the day was coming where my husband and my son were gonna kill the birds, and my son, he was 18. It's not like we're disturbing him, but people grow up on farms, so whatever. He comes in the house
my kids are so baby.
shaking. He was shaking over having. He's like, I can't believe I just killed something, and it's like, all right, well, get out there. You got 3 more to do, you know. But it's like it is. It's a dirty job. Survival isn't supposed to be opening a bag of Doritos, going down to McDonald's. It's hard work. It's laborious. It always has been, you know?
And this is why I struggle with God, because it has been since the Garden of Eden. This is me. I have problems with it. I know you're right, what you're saying. You're right. But I have problems with the Doritos way, and I have problems with the way of like be a man and kill a chicken. I was listening to and I hope Unexpected Cosmology did a good 1 hour presentation on the mud flood millennial kingdom, and he got into manna. And you know that I'm obsessed with the facts that they didn't have bathrooms. I'm like, I don't know what was going on, but no bathrooms. That sounds great to me. And manna,
it sounds great to you.
Absolutely. I want to live. I don't want to say I don't want food, but I want to live and not need food. And that's what manna is.
What does that have to do with bathrooms?
Because if you don't eat food, you don't have to use the bathroom. Duh. It's connected. Sorry.
No,
I didn't mean to say that.
You didn't make that clear. I was thinking of like the outhouse using a corn cob to wipe your butt. I was thinking like okay, so anyway, not having to use the bathroom.
I'm obsessed with the Millennial Kingdom and mud flood stuff and Tartaria, whatever, because they had fountains but no bathroom. Like, and then he did a presentation today. It was amazing. I sent it to my mom and my sister, and he talked about the no bathrooms thing, and he talked about the manna from heaven, and it was. I'm sorry. How did I get on this? Because we're talking about killing chickens and we're talking about Doritos. And this is one thing I said in my low point on Tuesday. My brother called me and I was such a bitch. I was like, he's like, how you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm just, just trying to get food so we can shit it out. Like, it was disgusting. It's disgusting, but that's how I felt. I was like, this world is all about getting food so we can just go to the bathroom and like, what the hell? Because everyone's life revolves around eating. Think about a world where you don't have to eat. I'm sorry. We might have to delete this part. I don't want to be gross. Okay, go ahead.
You're not being gross. It is definitely something I can't imagine Adam and Eve having to dig a hole to relieve themselves in the garden. I do think it is part of our fallen nature. So I don't blame you for seeing it as disgusting. There's so many gross things that the human body, I think, after the fall, experienced, So it's like, yeah, but at the same time, we can't starve to death. Right. I mean, that would be like suicide. Right.
Food is, and I appreciate, like, I'm really going what you said. You're so right. Like, what you like teaching your son to take care of a chicken is so much better than opening a bag of Doritos.
You know what else is really disturbing? All right. So you said teaching my son to take care of a chicken. So also because we're not a homestead, we're not a farm, we have a small flock, and the chickens are kind of our pets in a weird way. Not like cuddling up like a kitten or a puppy. But
I hear
like,
that all the time. I hear that all the time. Like people get affectionate towards their chickens, of course.
yes, and then having to take some of them out, you know, especially roosters. I mean, I've let enough go in the woods near my house that I feel irresponsible if I was to keep doing that. And every time you get pullets or whatever, they blood type them to sex them, but you know, there's always going to be a rooster in there. So it came time for us to be like, all right, we have to start killing our own, you know, meat. And it was upsetting because of the fact that these creatures have names, and they've had names for at least 18 months, even with the roosters. But you know, in scripture, not to go too scriptural, but just to bring it up, you know that how they had to get the spotless lambs for Passover.
Yeah, I think now it's okay to sacrifice a turtle, but go on. Yeah.
So they had to bring the lamb into their home for like something like 10 days before they slaughtered it. And it's,
I didn't know that.
yes, and it's like, if you think about a baby lamb, they're so cute, they're adorable. And it's like, so I was thinking about that when I sent my son my son out to the garage with his dad with a bucket and an axe to kill the pet, to kill kind of the pet. It's
He's
so
a
dark.
man now. That was the old man rituals. They used to send the boy. I mean, I'm sure women had their own things, but I've heard a little bit more about the, you know, boy becoming a man ritual, and it always involved. Unfortunately, it does usually involve killing something that you were affectionate for. Not saying that you were doing that, but
well, I mean, think about the first fruits also. There's a lot in scripture that I think shows a lot about animals also. Like the first fruits, Cain and Abel. What was it? Cain was the one in charge of vegetables, and he didn't even give his best first fruits. Whereas Abel was in charge of the animals. And even he had such a devotion to our Lord. You know, we're talking about
our Lord. I hope it's our Lord. I don't know. Like, well, God, it's getting a little confusing. Like, we need a little clarification.
He did have such a devotion that he gave the best and probably the cutest and probably his personal favorites as, you know, this is my first fruits. So there is a lot of that in scripture where it comes to like animal sacrifice. And if you read more into it, it's like these people, there's a lot more to the story, because they weren't like robots, you know, they were just people. So there's that.
There is that. I mean, I was happy to talk to you tonight. Great. I'm still kind of processing the mainstream news stories and like, what the hell are they trying to do to people?
They're getting people. It's demonic. They're getting ready for, I mean, are they getting ready for anything? They're just celebrating demons. They're celebrating dark arts. They're celebrating, again, demons, even with El Chupacabra, or mythology and things like that. And yeah, they're just like, it's, and we're to the point where people have lost any semblance of grounded beliefs, that we're gonna become a culture of superstition like the pagans. So we're going right back there. We know that we're hedonistic and everything else, and yeah,
what goes around comes around. There's nothing new under the sun. I would say that and I maybe it was pride in the past, and I wouldn't have said that I feel confused, but confusion is big on my mind. And a lot of the times when I hear things, it's not that I want to throw it out and not think of it, but I don't have room to think of it. And, you know, I'm busy on to the next thing, and I've heard too much, and and God is not the author of confusion. And it's too it's some days you're just like it's too much. Like in
That's
what?
why I was like, yes. And I've heard a lot of people saying that in the past. Oh my goodness. How many years, Faye? How many years have we been talking about these things? But it is true. But to be confused is also human. It doesn't mean that God was the author of it. Who is the author of it? We know where it's coming from.
You know what? Growing up in the late 70s and 80s and 90s, I felt confused, but I didn't feel like this. This is like an anvil on top of me. That's sometimes like a spiritual anvil that I can't handle. I can't understand. And, you know, some days I'm more confident than others. It's like, it's heavy. Yeah, great. I can go like this. There's literally nothing there, but it's heavy. This wasn't, the world has changed.
Oh,
I don't.
Absolutely, Faye. It's absolutely changed. I mean, things that, you know, even when we were talking about presidential debates last week or the week before, it's like things that would have never even crossed our minds, they were debating. But the things that they're ushering in now, there was no discussion whatsoever. They're just here. And we're witnessing things that are unspeakable. I mean, even your sister said to me, Mary, what do you think they do with the parts of these young boys after they castrate them? And I was like, what? You know, they're doing something.
They probably wear them on necklaces or eat
they're
them.
doing something. Some sort
There's
of a
an
ritual.
There's an us and there's a them. And I'm sorry, unfortunately the them looks a lot like us, but they have. And then there's the NPC class that's just like la 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 la. I'm gonna ignore everything and not and it's so I don't know. Is it 3 or 2? I don't know. And who am I? I'm never gonna be in a position to be like you're that, you're that, you're in that. I'm in a position to wake up every day and do the best I can. And Tuesday I failed, and so that was within the week.
Yeah, Joe says they make skin cream, but I don't know. I feel like it's such a sacred part of the body that there has to be something a little bit more ritual with it. Even though I will say with aborted fetuses, we have aborted babies, we have seen them use them for things like skin care, but they also came out with some of the first jabs. So, I mean, there's always a little something for everybody in these disgusting things that these people are doing. Anyway, my questions. All right, let's wrap it up. I want to see if all of a sudden this fire disappears. Is it going to disappear all of a sudden? Because I know it's still burning. Or is this going to be the summer of, you know, climate lockdowns and all that kind of stuff that we are pretty sure is coming? And what was my other question going forward? What was it, Faye? Anyway, any final thoughts from you?
You're very right. It's like, will this be a story next week? Because it's moving so fast, the distractions and the everything. And will we even be? Well, let's make a point to like revisit it. We'll see if we're still here. And I don't know. I'm just thankful that we have these conversations and like that you're my cousin and we got to grow up together and that we know the old world and like, you know, like I can look at you and we know that when I can look at you and know that we experienced it together. Like this isn't what's going on now isn't what we signed up for in a way. So thank you. And thank you to anyone listening now or later. And go ahead, Mary. I mean, it's confusing, but I do have faith in God, for lack of a better word, and I'm just glad I didn't die Tuesday. So try not to have those days because if I met my Creator, I would have been embarrassed.
I know.
It was bad.
Well, we all have those days, Faye, but I'm glad that you acknowledge it.
I was talking a big game about like you're just like marriage is wonderful, and you just I mean I wasn't being like holier than thou, and I said fight for it, and you got to fight for it. But it's just ironic that on Tuesday, like twice a year, I am the worst wife, and if I was like that every week, my husband would have every right to divorce me. Okay, so it's just ironic that the Tuesday after the Friday, I'm talking about the gift of marriage, which I still think it is. I was the worst wife that ever lived. I was. So I'm sorry. I'm like veering off. I can't wait to rewatch this back. I'm gonna kind of deep dive some of these stories that you posted, and we'll see if they keep
on all my
the paranormal stuff. Go ahead.
If you go to Cinema Shogun, do not be surprised when somehow you wind up in Britney Spears like stuff because he does cover a lot of that. So anyway,
Britney is an American treasure, and I don't care what first time caller says. She hasn't been replaced, and I don't think she's a man. Okay, I love Britney. Sorry, I don't love her, but I like her.
All right.
Your final thoughts. Just give me my final thoughts. That was it.
My final thoughts was a big giant question mark. I don't have answers. I make observations. The only things I can speak on with authority are things nobody wants to hear. And it, so that's all. Let me get our outro going, Faye, and we'll talk next week. Let me tell you real quick. Next Friday is my birthday. So that's very exciting. And I will be available because on Thursday, we're going to out to dinner, me and my husband. And I said, we have to bring my daughter. And I just want you to remember a couple weeks ago when I almost started swearing and I was like, oh, I'm binge watching Gordon Ramsay's, right? Yeah. So because I'm so easily led, we're going to go to Ramsay's in Boston for my birthday.
I love it. That's exciting. Well,
yeah,
we don't have to scream if you decide it's your birthday, but I'll be here if you want. Maybe
we're going on Thursday.
Maybe for your birthday, we can grab some special guests that we haven't seen in a while. We'll see.
Oh, yes. Maybe we'll do it like a panel night. But yeah, we're going on Thursday for that because we couldn't get in on the Friday. But anyway, all right. See you all next week. Bye, Faye.
Guys. Thank you, anyone. Bye, Mary.
God bless. Bye-bye.